Greetings, BArcadians, and welcome to another edition of Gaming News Weekly with your hosts, me, Tabs, my good friend and channel companion, Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hello and welcome.
So yeah, as ever, we're here every Friday at 5 p.m. UK time with the juiciest topics and stories we could find in the games industry in any given week. We feature 3 in the main, and then we shift over to everything else, as we call it, where we deliver a few little bits and pieces that we couldn't really feature in full. But as ever, we will always start off with what we've mostly been playing in the week just gone, to regale you with our gaming escapades, as we like to say. So yeah, Rich, should we kick off with that? What have you mostly been playing this week? I don't recall on WhatsApp, apart from Ghost of Tsushima, again, Legends.
Just been playing Ghost of Tsushima Legends, really. Still haven't got back to 12 minutes. I'm sort of stuck on it, and I've been pondering on it, and I can't work out what to do, which is the biggest reasons I've not gone back to it. But I will go back to it. I just need to... It's one of those, I don't want to go on and just sit there aimlessly, because it's a real time sponge.
I'm thinking of some of the reviews I saw, they kind of pointed out a couple of design flaws in the puzzles and the logic behind it, and I'm wondering if you've kind of hit one of those walls. You might have to, I know it's not great, but you might have to Google it, mate.
Yeah, maybe. I need to go on and at least give it another go. There's something I've missed, maybe, because I was stuck before and I managed to come up with a solution which moved me forwards. So maybe I need to have a look again. But to be fair, I've really been enjoying playing Legends this week. Just really enjoy the grind on it. It's such a fun game to play, and to have that trade-off of like grinding your equipment at the same time, which in the way the game works, that levels you up. I've just really enjoyed that this week. So, and obviously it's great to play the game with you, buddy.
Exactly, my friend. Yeah. Same really. You know, I've not really touched anything else but Ghost of Tsushima Legends as well. Yeah, and same sentence, mate. It's just, I've obviously played quite a bit more than you because I find it so addictive. And again, just that easy kind of idling experience. I said in previous weeks playing Pro Evolution Soccer, where you don't have to think or engage too much, like in a story narrative game, open world. And for whatever reason, that suits me right now where I am in, my life, my personal life.
Just while we're talking about Ghost of Tsushima, obviously one of our friends, Ryan, is currently playing it, and one of his overriding thoughts while playing it is how much depth there is in the combat system. There's menus with side menus and button holds and then presses. And I do think that's one thing that's really nice about the online thing. It strips it back a little bit and puts it a little bit, so you've not got as much kit that you can play with. You've not got all your things you can throw, your arrows, your blow darts. It strips it back a bit, but it sort of makes the online bit of it a little bit more focused. And yeah, I quite like that in some respects. I mean, I do think you get used to the lots of the different combat systems, as you play the game more, and they do start to come into their own. But yeah, I do quite like the stripped back nature of the online bit.
Quite rhythmic, isn't it? In the same way as God of War was, where essentially you get to a point where you're keeping all these combat options floating in your, almost like your RAM in your head that you're having to kind of pull on and time them, because obviously you've got cooldowns that are at play. And you want to be throwing those out as frequently as you can at the right time. So it's almost like, you kind of learn to puppeteer and pull on the right strings at the right times. And as we're finding with our friend Bob, he's fresh into it, and he's trying to get to grips with that. And obviously they're still growing out their characters, learning the techniques for their individual classes. And it is, there is a bit of a dance there that you have to get your head around, but therein lies some of the satisfaction once you do, and you start to feel like this, super buff samurai assassin or whatever. So, yeah.
But on that note, speaking of good games, why don't you take us into the first story of the week, buddy?
Yeah, this is one I'd love to squeeze in the backlog. I've still got Zelda Skyward Sword to finish, but anyway, Deathloop review roundup we've got for you first of all, Arcadians. So it's sitting at a Metacritic of 88 as we speak. I think that was on the PS5, which I think is the only console it's out on actually at the minute. So what I've done is I've kind of ripped 3 critical reviews, and we'll just kind of summarize them here for you. But what I've tried to do is just select one from each of the kind of spread of reviews, which is roughly sitting between 10 out of 10 and 8 out of 10, let's say, or Metacritic does it on a scale of 100, so 180. Just to give us a cross-section and a bit of a flavour as to what people are saying about it. But I think in a nutshell, Rich, you know, it's had a very positive critical reception. Sadly for you, it's first person, so it's not one for you. But should we take it in turns? If I kick us off with The Telegraph.
Brilliant, go for it.
Who scored it 10 out of 10 or 100 on the Metacritic scale. For all of its complexities under the hood, Deathloop is Arcane's most accessible game yet and elicits constant satisfaction. The action is a pleasure, while its main drive has you constantly picking up pieces of an unknown puzzle that are pieced together in separate chunks before the frisson of excitement when the full picture starts to form. What's extraordinary is how Arcane makes it seem so easy. Blockbuster game making at its smartest and most essential.
Wow.
So yeah,
brilliant.
Big praise.
GameRant gave it a 9 or 90 on Metacritic, and they had this to say: Deathloop is one of the best games of 2021 and one of the best PS5 console exclusives so far. Arcane has hit it out of the park yet again, with the PS5 getting yet another must-have title for its growing library of exclusive games. Deathloop may be too easy, and there's definitely some tedium tied to the time loop, but most of the time players will be having so much fun that they'll easily be able to overlook its few shortcomings.
Again, still sounding very glowing, isn't it, to be honest? I think we'll find it, you know, even this 80, which we'll cover off now, is sort of similar. So this last one from Push Square, 80 or 8 out of 10. Few games have the confidence and swagger of Deathloop. Packed full of charisma and wit, it's a game that can be played your way with your own style and cunning. A very accomplished package of gameplay features supplies the goods, and the time loop delivers fun and deceitful opportunities over and over again. Deathloop may be the final game out of Arcane Studios to hit Sony consoles, but the developer goes out with an undisputed bang. I mean, that's an 8 out of 10. I mean, that sounds kind of like a 9 out of 10, mate, to me. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, you know, Deathloop has hit the ground running, and it's having a really good response. I'll say that, although I can't remember what video I was watching the other day. I was watching a YouTube influencer's video and kind of take on it. And I'm sure they said that it's kind of having a sort of a Marmite effect across some as well. I've not, I've not seen any like damning reviews or anything, but I suppose that's worth bearing in mind. I think if you're familiar though with, you know, first person, what do they call this sort of thing? Like a simulation. I forget what the genre is now, but if you used to Arcane games like Dishonored, for example, I think you're just going to love this, you know, and also games probably like BioShock, where you've got that kind of narrative backbone, but you've got these dynamic emergent scenarios that are kind of informed by the combination of weapons and powers at your disposal. I think you're going to love it. So for me, mate, I think when I can get the time to play this game, I've really got to get the Skyward Sword beat, really. I think I'll then make the purchase on this because, it's up my street, that's for sure.
It's really interesting because I think I asked you about this maybe a week ago, and I said you're going to get Deathloop, and you were like, I don't know, I think I'll wait for the reviews. And I said to you at the time, I think it'll get reviewed really highly. I think it looks a really good game, and the way that people, influencers, are talking about it, like they were so excited about it. There had to be something compelling about it. I just couldn't imagine it, you know, it being bravado and they're doing it because they're getting paid or they've got to. So I was always confident this was going to be a brilliant game. So I was surprised when you said you were going to wait for reviews, to be fair. But obviously that's come to fruition now. It has been reviewed really, really well. I think I have seen, Dreamcast Guy, I see a title of one of his videos where it said something like, it's a brilliant game, but it has flaws or something. I remember seeing something as a title on one of his videos. But
I'm not sure it was Dreamcast Guy or somebody else, but they certainly said there's kind of some mixed opinions about out there. So yeah, do your own research, I suppose. But Metacritic 88. I'm seeing a lot of positive stuff, so yeah, I'm excited.
I would say, as we stand, with the fact that there's not a huge amount of like proper blockbuster games coming out this year, there's every chance this is going to be Game of the Year. With the way it's been reviewed and the way it's been received, I can't see anything toppling this for this year on the PS5.
I think, yeah, this and Psychonauts 2 seem to be up there as contenders, you would say. And I don't really know of anything prior to that. I think there might be one or two, maybe an indie title or two. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult year, isn't it? We've obviously seen a lot of games delayed. So yeah, I think they've certainly made a good play for a contender Game of the Year.
It's also obviously, normally we'd be expecting like a slew of games leading up to Christmas. That's like a normal thing, But I don't think there'll be very much this year. Lots of the things that we were sort of expecting to be holiday launches have slipped into next year now. So I don't think we're going to see a lot. There's a few games here and there. Nothing I would say that utter blockbusters. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether this does get a nod for Game of the Year when the awards season comes round. But shall I move us on, mate?
Yes, please.
Cool, and we move on to the hottest games of the PlayStation Showcase. We mentioned this last week, that there was a showcase on Thursday last week, and we thought there was going to be some good stuff. We were speculating on what we might see. We were pretty wrong with some of the things, but we were right on some of the things. We didn't see Silent Hill or MGS, which was the two things we were both hoping for, but we definitely saw plenty of that. So let's get into this. And PlayStation Lifestyle had this to say from the showcase. According to an analysis of YouTube viewers by Benji Sales on Twitter, God of War Ragnarok proved to be the most popular trailer, closely followed by the reveal of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Coming in third was the surprise tease of Marvel's Wolverine. God of War Ragnarok finally got an official name and was confirmed to be the finale of the Norse saga. Somewhat more surprising was the announcement that Cory Barlog would not be directing the game, as he's currently working on another project that can't be revealed yet. The gameplay reveal trailer accumulated more than 10 million views across YouTube channels that had uploaded the trailer, proving to be the most popular game of the night. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was another game some people expected to be at the show, although they weren't expecting a collaboration between Peter Parker and Miles Morales, nor were they expecting the appearance of Venom. The brief trailer racked up more than 9 million views across all YouTube channels. The trailer on the PlayStation channel attracted 5.9 views on its own, more than many other games got across all channels. In third was the reveal of Marvel's Wolverine, which will be exclusive to PlayStation 5. The game is in the very early stages of development, and all we got was a brief teaser trailer, but this garnered around 7 million views. Other notable mentions include the confirmation of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Remake was gained more than 3 million views. The release date trailer for Gran Turismo 7 that passed 1 million mark comfortably. And the story trailer for Forspoken that reached around 1 million views. Benji Sales didn't include Grand Theft Auto 5 PS5's trailer in its analysis, but our own number crunching revealed this trailer also passed the 1 million mark comfortably. So there was plenty of hype going on around this, and it was amazing to see Ragnarok. I was blown away with it. I think I texted Tabs the next day and said I couldn't stop watching the trailer. I was that impressed with it, which Tabs rebuffed with, I think people saying it doesn't look next gen, which I was pretty gobsmacked by. But obviously people are entitled to their opinion. So I'm really excited for that, and to be fair, it looks like the God of War we love from the previous game, with sort of lots of new flourishes and gameplay details, so I'm really super excited for that. And Spider-Man, I guess that was expected that they would do another Spider-Man given the success of the previous ones. I don't know, what did you make of the showcase, Tabs?
Yeah, I thought it was strong. I think I came out immediately buzzing, like the fact, I think God of War as well, that was the big, like, wow. And I thought it was a great trailer. And I agree with you, I thought it looked stunning. And, you kind of get that, you kind of reintroduced to the cast of characters who, you come to love and really appreciate. And obviously you get all these new characters as well, and the intrigue that goes along with it. So, yeah, I was really excited. 8 or 9 out of 10 as a showcase for me, I think. In terms of what else stood out for me, Yeah, I suppose Wolverine is exciting. Wolverine's probably one of my favourite Marvel characters, along with Spider-Man and Hulk. So I'll be interested to see what they do with him. I mean, you've got to think, surely they're going to kind of be using a similar engine to Spider-Man, and they're kind of going to make it a similar sort of open world romp. Sure. I don't know. I think I'd like to see them do more of a linear narrative experience, just to change the pace a bit, because
a bit Uncharted like.
Yeah, I could very much see that working really well. And you don't just want to see an identikit Marvel game made, do you? And I don't think it's fun for them to develop in the same mold without branching out a bit. So yeah, I'd love to see that. Would be a great shout. Narrative, Uncharted style, set pieces, experience with Wolverine. I think that could be fantastic. And then apart from that, I'm really interested by KOTOR, or Knights of the Old Republic, because I never played it, and obviously it's kind of legendary status in the games industry. And I'd like to go on.
On that, what do you make of the fact, because I don't believe EA are involved at all with that project?
No BioWare, or I think there's
there was some sort of speculation or sort of questioning throughout Twitter and YouTube on whether we thought that was a good thing or a bad thing. I struggled to understand why it would be a bad thing.
I think because they were the original creators. I think they're looking at, it's like making MGS or remaking MGS and not including Hideo Kojima in some capacity. It's almost like you want that kind of consultant level of control from somebody who proves he has the experience and created the game and is somehow at the quintessence of what that game is all about. So I think that's what the vibe was.
While I do agree with that, Hideo Kojima is still Hideo Kojima. He's still the genius that is. He's still why you would want him on board. EA are a bit of a different animal these days. They're not about making superb games, as they're, in my opinion, obviously, that's not their modus operandi. What their modus operandi more nowadays for me is cash cow. That's where they sit. And yeah. I don't know. I think I don't want them involved in this. People have seen the original game.
Maybe, mate. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, the people who will be remaking it will have played and seen the original game. They'll be able to take inspiration from that and give it the feel of the original game, with hopefully some flourishes of next-gen graphics, etc., and obviously haptic feedback and all these other things that could work amazing in the Star Wars universe. But yeah, carry on, mate. Sorry to interrupt.
No, spot on. I think it's great. You want a fresh perspective, don't you, on these things? And I think there is a lot of KOTOR that perhaps hasn't aged well. Yeah. So I think there is a lot of rejuvenation to go into it. I suppose the only thing is that fans might be saying, I don't know if those individual developers are still residing in some way within EA, BioWare, whatever.
I see, yeah.
And perhaps they thought they could be pulled out and made a part of the project, just a few key individuals. So maybe that's to do with it, I don't know. But let us know, BArcadians, if you know better, because it's certainly not a subject that I have a great deal of authority about. And then just to finish off, mate, Forspoken looks mint, doesn't it? Both in terms of the narrative, the combat. I mean, the graphics are awesome. Yeah, I'm really. I mean, you compared it to the Unreal 5 engine trailer, didn't you? And you're right. It's got that sort of granularity and next-gen vibe to it. So I'm really excited to see that come through. I mean, I'm surprised you've not mentioned GT7, mate, because that's totally up your alley, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be nice to have a proper Gran Turismo that there's like a progression to it. Whereas Gran Turismo Sport, I really enjoyed it. I still play that, every now and again now, so I'm still really enjoy that game. But it felt like it was very much pointed towards online play rather than, what I think you've enjoyed over the years as well, that whole thing of buying old cars and
career mode to them.
Yeah, and basically exactly that, career mode. So I'm really looking forward to that. It does look really good. I'm disappointed that we're not going to see it for Christmas. Perfect game to play over the Christmas break if you have one from work. So I'm disappointed by that. And we're still 6 months out at the end of the day, and I would like to see a little bit more from it rather than these Vista shots. I'd like to see more, a gameplay walkthrough or something like that, but I guess that'll come in due course. My only concern on that is, if you go onto the Gran Turismo 7 website, it says planned release date. It doesn't say release date, it says planned release date, and I'm always a little bit skeptical when you see stuff like that. Does that mean there's a possibility it's going to slip? Is that them hedging their bets? I don't know, we'll see.
I think Polyphony Digital, aren't they? They're renowned for just polishing things so much.
Yeah.
And, I think these games because of all the car models and the assets that go into them, they take an awful lot of time to make. So from my vibes from it, mate, where I think this is potentially going to be the best GT since like A-Spec. Yeah. Which I think for me was probably the best GT I ever played in my lifetime. Uh-huh. So I think that's a great thing. And like you said, disappointed it's not coming at Christmas, but take all the time, imbue it with all that magic and creativity and really double down. I feel like that's what they're doing. And perhaps Sony are giving them the budget to do so, that perhaps challenge them, reinstate the GT franchise as the best simulation game in the games industry, because obviously Forza in recent years has been tussling for that title. But then, last thing, mate, and it was just I'll sneeze this one out. Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer. Oh, everybody's saying it, aren't they? But it just didn't look any different at all. And it's like, Rockstar, give it a rest. I think it got loads of dislikes, the trailers, even though it says it passed the 1 million mark. I think everybody's just fed up with seeing it, aren't they?
The one thing I would say, and I had this conversation with Ryan earlier on in the week, the one thing I will say on that is, what were people expecting? It's always going to be the same engine. They're not making it in a new engine, so it's always going to be limited by the engine. So realistically, all they're likely to be able to do is up frame rates, draw distance. I don't think that you're going to be able to see better graphics because they're at the limitation of the engine. So
but there's ray tracing, mate. There's ray tracing, mate, and there's also mods online which perhaps show it in better light, and certainly on PC than what we saw in that trailer. So I think there is scope and headroom still, but it just feels like, and I think that was part of the reason why it got the response it did, because it just feels really lazy from Rockstar. Yeah. It's just another attempt to churn out that title and earn some more money from it.
So in essence, it looks like a port rather than, it looks the same game, doesn't it, really? So all they're doing is going, you can now play it on a PS5.
This is it, and they were talking about like instantaneously character swapping, and I think people were like, that's pretty much the case anyway. Yeah. It was almost like, cyberpunk levels of bullshittery.
Love it.
Yeah, but anyway, let's move on to the last story. I'm sure we're well over our time limit this week, but the last headline reads, Skull and Bones leak. So this comes courtesy of GameSpot, this article, and it reads, new details on Skull and Bones, Ubisoft's long in development seafaring game, have apparently emerged. According to leaker Tom Henderson, who has had a solid record with Call of Duty and Battlefield leaks over the years, the game reportedly features 5 different tiers of ships, which are divided into cargo, combat, and exploration categories, depending on the journey that you'll take. New ships are unlocked via blueprints and can be customized, such as enhancing a vessel's predetermined arsenal of cannons with mortars, ballistas, and other weapons. Each ship also has its own strengths and weaknesses, with Henderson saying that smaller boats can outrun bigger ships if a chase occurs. Like most of Ubisoft's games, Skull and Bones is claimed to be an open-world title set in the waters of the Indian Ocean and a fictional pirate haven, based on Madagascar. You'll start the game off as a complete nobody, eventually working your way up the pirate ladder by earning cash from jobs, raiding other ships, attacking settlements, and hauling cargo across the ocean, according to the leak. It's worth noting that Henderson's thread of tweets contains several leaked images, some of which have already been removed due to copyright claims. Wow. So I suppose that probably adds more fuel to the fire that it's all genuine. But no, I thought this was interesting, mate, because we've been interested, haven't we, following this, and obviously we know it's been in a degree of development hell. But now it seems like, I thought it was almost leaning more towards like an online multiplayer game originally, but this seems to be going the opposite direction, more into an open world sort of setting. And I definitely got some Sea of Thieves vibes reading through this. So maybe that's part of it as well. They've seen some of the success and popularity and longevity, because it has hung around for a while, Sea of Thieves. And they've maybe pivoted a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but just reading that section about, fictional pirate haven based on Madagascar, rags to riches tale of a pirate, it certainly sounds enchanting to me if they can get it right.
Absolutely, mate. It sounds awesome. And I feel like I say this all the time, but I really liked Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But one of the things I really liked about that was the fact
You do say it all the time, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Rude. I think I like the sailing aspect and the exploration and the fact that you could build up a base, as part of that, resource, gathering and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. So I feel like that's taking that part of the game that I really enjoyed and fleshing it out to be a fully fledged game. And that just sounds awesome. I mean, I think it is first person. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I think they changed the perspective on ships. So I think the ships you're going to be kind of third person perspective to a degree. Maybe it's a bit more zoomed in. I'm not sure. I'm sure I did read that there are some on foot elements to it though, and I don't know. Again, I mean, presumably it's Ubisoft. I would guess that would be third person. I don't think they're going to go push to the degree of Assassin's Creed style gameplay. It's perhaps going to be a little bit, light in that respect.
Yeah, that's fine.
All leaks at this point, but no, I'm really kind of hopeful that it's going to be kind of pivoted into an experience which has a lot of potential. I'd love to see, for me and you, mate, just to play it. Sea of Thieves is a game I'd love to have played together, but obviously we've got that first-person barrier for you. And if they can kind of hit a similar note with an even more fleshed-out story narrative, open-world experience, fantastic. I'll be buying that day one.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, since we're like 27 minutes into this, should we crack on with everything else?
Yeah, let's rattle it off, mate. So first story and everything else. Gran Turismo 7, cross-play confirmed for PS4 and PS5 players. Not bad.
Fabulous. Midnight Black Pulse 3D headset revealed for PlayStation. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Really cool, looks so much better than the white one. And does this mean we're going to get a black PS5 coming down the line? Maybe, we'll see.
Let's hope so. When will Deathloop come to Xbox? You'll be waiting at least a year, apparently.
Makes sense that there will be exclusivity on that of a year. Normally, that's quite normal. Bethesda's Indiana Jones game might be an Xbox exclusive. Boo.
Yeah, that would be a real shame.
Yeah, agreed.
And lastly, Lego Super Mario 64 question block set unfolds into an impressive diorama. And I shared this over WhatsApp with you excitedly the other day, didn't I, Rich?
You did. What was your take on that in the end, Tabs? You were sort of umming and ahhing on whether you should get it. I think it looks really good, actually. I think it'd be an incredible display piece.
It looks really cool, and I think it has some interactive component with, the Super Mario sets. Because I would love that. That would be the biggest thing for me. It's a diorama, so I want to hear the Mario 64 soundtrack in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's how you do it. I don't think it's inbuilt. But yeah, for me, for the price tag it's at, I know I'm not going to bother. I don't think I'm happy with my NES Super Mario Bros piece. That will do for me.
Excellent. Well, you better wrap us up, mate, because we are well over time this week.
Yeah, blimey, we're not going to have any time left for our evenings, are we, mate? But thank you, BArcadians, for joining us this week. As ever, please make sure you support the channel and the work we do with a like. If you really loved it, then subscribe. And yeah, if you want to stay up to date with everything we put out, which I appreciate is just the news at the moment, then make sure you ring that bell for notifications. And I think, well, hopefully we'll see you next week, but that's another one for the archives.
Stamped and completed.